to another beautiful Sunday afternoon. This is Rubbin Minds. Welcome. My name is Ebuka Oduchi, and it's great to have you join us. As always, we're going to be starting off the show like I always do with looking at the week that has passed and all of the headlines that caught our attention. And I have here with me Jude Egwas. Thanks for being here today.
Nice to hear.
I want to start with Mr. President now. We did get information during the week that he was going to be leaving the country for 10 days. There were talks about him going for a checkup. Some say he's going to treat his ear. We heard complete new reports that he's just going on a holiday. Whatever the case, he's going to be away for 10 days. And it came as a shock to a lot of people because most people didn't see it coming. And there's also the controversy of why you're not taking a holiday in Nigeria or even treating yourself here, seeing as that was one of the main campaign points the APC threw at us, saying medical tourism is something that we should stop, especially with government officials. What's your take on that scenario?
I think he should have. The information was badly managed, first and foremost. I think because his aide, Femi Adesina, tried to manage it by saying, okay, the president wasn't going he's going on a vacation, he's not going for an ear check. But then the president landed on the tarmac, on his way to the plane and said, look, I'm going for an ear check. So you don't know really who to believe. So I think that because we are coming from a past where we had the Yaradua saga and all of that, I think it's very important, and the presidency comes out very clear on issues like this. And everybody sings from the same song sheet. It's very important.
Hasn't that been one of the biggest problems with this administration, where we tend to hear so many different opinions on the particular issue? We've had in the past where maybe the Minister of State for Petroleum says something, the Minister of Information says something completely different, then the Minister of Finance comes up with something else, the Mr. President comes and sort of overrules everybody, all in the space of a few days. And you wonder, with so many media managers and advisors in this government, why are they getting it so wrong?
I think the administration will be the first to admit that in terms of communication, they're getting it all wrong. I think Kemi Adeosun, the Minister of Finance, admitted on Channels TV some time ago that the information process of the administration is a big flaw for them. And I think going forward is something they really need to look at, because like you pointed out, there are so many aides doing the same thing, but everybody singing discordant tunes. I don't think they need that. The information strategy management of the administration is still very, very bad.
Talking about Mr. President still now and his health and all of that, there's been a lot of speculation about how strong he might be. You talked about President Yaradua there. There's fears that, of course, nobody wishes him that. But most people saw the Democracy Day broadcast, and there were talks about how frail he was and whether this trip is about, going to do a full body checkup and all of that. Should we be worried?
I don't think so. Look, this is a man on the wrong side of 70, yeah? So I think he's due his checkups once in a while. He's a human being like every one of us, and he's tend to get ill like every one of us. But we are coming from, like I said, we are coming from a past where the presidency was a secret kind of affair. So we're looking at a situation where going forward, there's no need for Femi Adesina, for instance, to have said, oh, the president is not going for, it's not going for a health-related reason, and then the president comes and says something completely different. So I think he's due his leave like everybody else, but the information, like we've said before, is the biggest problem of this administration.
Still talking finally now about the health situation and him traveling, should we hold him accountable for that? Like I said, it was one of the promises we were told. Things like this are going to stop. We don't even have Forex to fund trips like this anymore. Is it something Nigerians should hold on to and ask proper questions?
Yeah, the opposition will be right to make some noise out of it, because here's a president who came on, who swept to power on the mantra of change. So you expect that things should be done differently. I think from my sources in the presidency, what was said was that the ear specialist, the ENT specialist, that's ear, nose and throat specialist, recommended that a foreign doctor looked at the ear, and I think that's what the president did. But again, it's a big worry if our own hospitals here cannot treat an ear infection. It's a big worry for everybody. Yeah.
Moving on now to security, or the lack of it, and talking about the Niger Delta, it's almost on a daily basis now that we're hearing about pipelines being vandalized or bombed or explosions, and we hear, I saw something, not exactly sure of the figures now, but our oil output went down to less than 1 million barrels a day now, about 600 and something thousand. Yeah. which of course definitely affects our revenue at the end of the day. They've listed a few demands. They've talked about no negotiations. We did hear threats sometime in the week about planes going to be shut down from the skies, and all of this is happening. It looks like the Niger Delta is taking over again from the northeast.
Yeah, it's a big worry because they are holding the entire economy to ransom, and we should be worried because the activities has led to a situation where the global price of oil has gone up, and Nigeria is not gaining anything from it. So they have practically grounded the Nigerian economy, and it's something we really need to. Talking about solutions now, I think we are paying for years of neglect of the Niger Delta by successive administrations. We've been paying lip service to developing the Niger Delta since independence, but really nothing has been done. So we are paying now. It's a situation where we need to really sit down and look at issues like restructuring, fiscal federalism, and all of those things. Because even the governors in the Niger Delta, they haven't really done enough for their people. So the minorities in the Niger Delta, and everybody has to really sit down, and we have to ask the question: what do the Niger Deltans really want? Because so far, like I said earlier, we're paying for neglecting that area for far too long. Yeah.
Definitely, like you pointed out, the long-term solution, of course, would be infrastructure development, empowering the people and making the Niger Delta at least get something back for all the trouble they've been through with regards to pollution of their community and all of that. But we definitely need short to medium-term solutions as it is now. I mean, it almost looks like there's a war going on there.
Yeah,
lives are being lost.
Yeah.
We're hearing about military invasions, which the military is saying they're going to pull back on. If they say they don't want to negotiate, and the military, it doesn't seem to be getting any results, at least in the short term, what should we be looking at? What should we be doing?
I think we should use a combination of carrot and stick, like the cliche goes. I'm looking at a situation where we're talking with this, because they are faceless, basically. So who exactly do you want to talk to? And they're not even ready to talk. So I'm looking at a short-term solution where, like the presidency has already done, withdraw the military. And so that we do not aggravate these guys some more. Withdraw the military and see if you can use back channels to find out the faces behind this attacks, and then if you can get one or two persons to sit down to talk, and then we solve the problem, because the military option will fail, as it has done in the past. It's not a short or long-term solution to the problem. So we need to sit down, talk, discuss, have a sit down on the table and find out who these guys are, because if we don't know who they are, because nobody in the Niger Delta at this moment seems to know who they are, and even activists in the Niger Delta are saying probably these guys come from outside of the Niger Delta, touch the pipelines and take off. So until we get the faces behind this group, it will be difficult to solve the problem.
Yeah, I was going to ask about, when the issue of Boko Haram started, there were talks about, northern elders trying to intervene. Is there nobody in the region that we could maybe be looking at to help with the situation?
The problem is that the guys do not even trust their own leaders. If you read some of their statements, disparaging statements about their governors, about leaders in the region, so they don't even trust their leaders. Even when the governors went to Abuja to meet with the vice president, there was a statement the next day to the effect that, look, we don't trust these guys. So it's a problem, I think, of the minorities in the Niger Delta being neglected for far too long. And the governors of the region haven't done anything with the 13% derivation for this long. So we are dealing with systemic foundational issues here.
Yeah. Let's move on now. Still sticking with the economy, but in a different light, and talking about jobs. There's been a crazy amount of job losses, especially in some of our major institutions in banking, where we're seeing numbers 400, 1,000. People being told to take their leave, and we're hearing about threats from the government. I don't know how that is supposed to work.
I don't know.
Is that the approach government should be taking? What approach should government be taking at this time?
When I heard the Labour Minister Chris Ngige issue that threat, I laughed out loud, because how can you issue a threat to the private sector? The government is supposed to create an enabling environment. The economy is stagnating, or is on a tailspin right now. You don't expect people who can't pay salaries to keep working. So until we get the economy to a point where, this administration has made a mess of the economy so far. They made a bad economy, but they made it worse. So, but until the economy comes to a point where you know, the naira gains some strength against the dollar, and then oil price goes up. You can't sit in Abuja and issue threats to an office in Lagos to not to
the way
retrench
things
staff.
are looking now, I mean, our oil output is going lower by the day.
Yeah.
The naira doesn't look like it's about to strengthen anytime soon. The economy isn't doing particularly great, so things might be this way for a while. Are we saying there's going to be more job losses?
I think so. I think the economy will pick up the last quarter of this year. That's what I think, and from projections we've read, so it's going to get very, very bad before it gets better. Yeah, I think so. So we all have to just brace up and face it.
Okay, moving on now to still with the Niger Delta. Actually, we did see a group called the Bakassi Strike Force,
Yeah.
a militant group that has now ordered the presidency to go and reclaim Bakassi, and saying that the federal government took away their oil-rich land and gave it to another country, and they want it back. I think they issued a deadline. I'm not sure by their leader, Simple Benjamin, who we also know as Humble Lion.
How humble is that?
Why is Bakassi still an issue? The fact that a ruling has been made and Nigeria willfully, whether it was right or wrong now is a whole other conversation, but willfully decided to follow that order. Will we keep talking about Bakassi?
Yeah, I think we'll keep talking about Bakassi, because what basically happened was that the government handed over Bakassi, but the people were not taken care of. I mean, this is a land, this is a region that has been inhabited by locals, by the Aborigines for quite a long time, and then you do all the judiciary stuff and all the legal stuff, and then you did not think about, there was no plan for the people. So it goes back to, like we keep saying over and over again, successive governments haven't really done enough for minorities, you know. And so from the point of the Bakassi, I can understand, because actually that's my state. So I know where the people are, where they are coming from. So it's a tricky situation, but which brings us back to the Avengers. The problem is when you solve the Avengers, there are 10 or 20 more groups, aggrieved groups coming up. So we really need to sit down and discuss this country, you know, because the way we are going, it's not the right approach.
All right, finally now, on a very sad note, Nigerian football, or Nigerians as a whole, actually were thrown into mourning this week. Two deadly blows actually were dealt the footballing community. First off, Coach Stephen Keshi, former captain of the Super Eagles and former coach of the Super Eagles as well, passed away in Benin City. And then 3 days later, Amodu Shuaibu, another many times coach of the Super Eagles, also passed away at 54 and 58 respectively, both in Benin City. And it's to say it's a shock, we'll be putting it mildly. Yeah, these are two heavyweights who have continued to show immense support for Nigerian football and have played their parts over time. And this just came out of nowhere for a lot of people. And you start to wonder, you know, about health and what we're doing with regards to our coaches. I mean, what did all of this do for you?
First of all, our condolences to the families of the bereaved families. It was a shock. I mean, in the space of 4 days, we lost 2 football giants in the country. I mean, 2 of our most successful coaches, which brings us back to the NFF and what they do to. Is there something that takes care of these coaches? Well, is there some kind of welfare package? Is there a health package for them? Is there health insurance while they're active and all of those kind of things? So I think in their active, so that this doesn't happen again, we really need to. They are our heroes, whether you like it or not. So we really need to look at a situation, a long-term situation where our sporting heroes have to have some kind of fallback option, you know, or we take care of their health insurance, for instance, I mean, and all of that.
Yeah.
Because it seems to me like sometimes when these guys are not active, or we simply forget about them.
Forget about them. Thank you very much, Jude. Thanks for being here today. And like Jude just said, condolence goes out to the family members and, of course, friends of Stephen Keshi and Amodu Shuaibu. And we do pray for them and hope that their souls continue to rest in perfect peace. We'll see you guys in a moment.